In this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to change your thinking about how to play par 3s. I'm going to share with you the stats from the PGA Tour and then the stats that relate to the proximity that you should be hitting it from the hole and how often you should be hitting this green. From there, I'm going to go ahead and get random golfers on the golf course to go ahead and step up on this tee box and ask them what they think and see if they have maybe the same delusion or lack of knowledge about numbers that you have that is causing you to play way too high a risk shots, leading to big numbers, large frustration, and you not breaking 90 and definitely not breaking 80. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. How's it going? All right, well, you guys get to all be in a YouTube video, which is great. So, okay, you got 170, slightly downhill, slightly downwind. What are our handicaps?
20.
20? Parks, 20? 9? And last but not least?
20. 24.
Okay, so here's my question to you guys. I want to ask you a question. On this tee here, before you hit, of a 20 handicap, how close should you be expecting to get the ball on the green? If you get it on the green, and how often should you get it on the green? Brad, how many times do you think you should hit it on the green from here off a 20 handicap?
Maybe 1 out of 2.
1 out of 2?
Yeah. 50%.
Out of 10. Give me out of 10.
Oh, okay, maybe 70%.
70%?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
Probably 40%.
40%?
For me, 30%.
30%? For a 10 handicap? 80%. 80. Okay, do you want to know what it actually is statistically? For par 3s between 150 and 200 yards for a 20 handicap? 17% of the time.
Oh, wow. 17?
17, yes. Like less than 2, okay? Now, let me ask you, when you hit it off a 20 handicap, how close to the hole should you be? What do you think the average proximity is? From this 170 yards, so between 150 to 200, what do you think?
50 feet.
50 feet?
Yeah, I'm
40 feet.
happy to
40
be
feet?
on the dance floor.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
You should be right around about 101 feet. Off a 10 handicap, what do you think you should be?
30 feet.
Close.
I think about 45.
66.
Oh my God.
What is it?
66.
66.
Okay, so this is one of the things, guys, of like where we struggle with golf is our expectations get too high, right? And then the tension comes on, and then we hit bad golf shots. So what we want to be thinking here is, okay, 2 out of 10 times. So if you think about 100 feet, come over here, guys. I just want to sort of share this with you, right? If you think of a shotgun, you guys all shoot, right? I know we're in California, but we all have guns, right? Correct. Okay, so if you've got a shotgun, you've got a dispersion pattern, okay? Yes. So if we look at that dispersion pattern being 100 feet, that means that we would have to aim. So if we hit 100 shots, some of them would be 100 foot left and some of them would be 100 foot right, right? Yes. So that means that we would have to aim to a place where the dispersion pattern wouldn't get any in the water. Because the worst thing here is to hit in the water, correct? So where would your target be statistically? Where should you aim on this hole? Even if you hit a slice or a draw, it doesn't matter. Where should you aim?
I would aim towards that tree.
That big oak tree, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably about 30 paces to 35 paces right. So the mindset here is that like to play par 3s more effectively, it isn't actually hitting the ball better, it's missing it better by knowing the expectations. So on the PGA Tour, what does the average player play for a par 3? Do they play it under par, because there's only one shot, or do they play it over par? The best players in the world, who are hitting from here and 9-9, what do they play it in? Over par or under par for the season?
Probably under par. Got
to be under par, right? They're the best players in the world.
Yeah, I think they're over par.
3.03.
Oh, huh.
And on holes this length, 3.07. So do you get what I'm saying? Like the best players in the world play this over par, which is for us saying, look, can we just put a ball in, play on the right, chip it onto the green, 2-putt, get the heck out of here, and try and save our scores for somewhere else? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So let's see it then. The guy who said he hits it, what, 70% of the time did he say onto the green? I mean, God, like this guy.
That's not me.
I'll take
no pressure at all.
No pressure at all. You've only got 3 cameras on you. Beautiful. Right where we said, right? Yeah. But again, now, in your mind, how happy are you with that shot? Probably, oh, yeah, not very good. It's okay. It's okay, but like, honestly, you should be looking at it as I'm in play. I can easily get it on the green and maybe make my putt, but at worst, it's a 2-putt and I get out here with bogey. Right? Yes. Absolutely.
Good ball.
Very nice. Oh, show off. You need to have more cameramen around you when you play. Let me see if I can zoom into this one. Oh, How good is that? Very nice.
Very good.
But again, is it a good miss? Can you still get it on the green and 2-putt from there? Because it's not in the water hazard, right?
Yeah.
So golf isn't about how good you hit it, it's how good you miss it, right? That's golf, right? It's a horrible game. I didn't create it. I didn't make it up. You guys decide to play it. Well, it's 70 degrees, so I mean it's a good day. Even if you play crap golf today, it's still a nice day in January in NorCal, right? So Dwayne, remember this one right here, 30% of the time is what you should hit the green off of a 10 handicap, 66 feet from the hole. So his target could be slightly inside of that tree. Very nice. So boys, what would you say that you learned from this stats? PGA Tour players play over par. You're expected to get 100 feet from the hole, not 20 or 30, and you meant to hit it 17% of the time, not 70.
Yes.
What did you learn from this? What did you learn from this information?
Keep the ball in play.
Keep the ball in play. What else?
Just pick a target that is down there to head towards. I mean,
Yeah.
a good target.
Yeah, the dispersion that your furthest left shot should still not be in that lake. Does that make sense? Dwayne, what else?
Don't exaggerate your expectations.
Yeah. If the expectations get high, the tension gets high. If the tension gets high, amazingly, we're terrible golfers, right? On that second ball, right, we're always relaxed. We've already hit it in the lake and we hit it right by the flagstick. So the first thing that we've got to do in perfecting the par threes is not just get stuck in on the yardage of the hole. So often what people do is they go ahead, grab the laser, and their number one focus is, how far do I have to hit it? What I want to show you to step one is to go ahead and figure out where can you not hit it rather than how far do you have to hit it. So the first stat I want to share with you is that PGA Tour players play par threes over par, 3.03 for the season. Okay, and when we're playing holes that are between 150 and 200, they play it in 3.07. Now remember, usually they're hitting between a 9 and a 7 iron, and that is not the club that we're hitting from this distance. Many of you are going to be hitting from, this is a 170-yard hole, you're going to be hitting a 5 hybrid, maybe you're hitting a 6 iron. You know, it's a longer shot for us, which makes it even more difficult. So the first thing we've got to do is not so much grab the laser and get the exact distance, it's figure out where can we absolutely not go. Where does the blow-up hole come from? Well, you can see very clearly on this hole, anywhere to the left. I mean, if we end up short left, we've lost a golf ball. We're probably going to make double or more. If we hit it long left, there's a back bunker, there's water. Again, you're probably going to be making double or more. So what we can see here is short right and long right. So what I want you to start off with is a quadrant. I want you to go ahead, put an X on the green and figure out of the 4 quadrants, which are the ones you absolutely cannot go in. And then from there, figure out which is the best quadrant to hit. So to me here, with the pin being all the way in the back left, the back right-hand corner would be my target. That's the first step. Now I can take my laser and hit that back right-hand corner. It's about 180 yards long of the green. So now I'm understanding where my direction is. What most of us are doing is we're lasering the flagstick and saying it's 169, and we're getting drawn into that flag, which is bringing the water into play. It's also picking a yardage that I'd have to hit exact to get it to the hole. I want to play extra club to a position where I can miss. The second step of perfecting par threes is going to be all about expectations. Most golfers are putting way too much pressure on themselves. They're expecting to try and make a 3 here. The question I have for you is, a 20 handicap golfer, how often should they hit this green? We've got 170 yards downhill, downwind. Okay, now what's going to blow your mind is that it's only 17% of the time. What? And not only that, 17% of the time, your average proximity from the hole is going to be 100 feet from the hole. Now what's going to be fun here is you watch these videos of just random golfers who are going to come up. See if your answers are the same. Because what most of us are doing is we're putting way too much pressure on ourselves. We're thinking we should hit this green. We're thinking we should make a par because it's a short hole. But as I said, statistically, PGA Tour players don't play it under par. They don't hit the green as often as you think. And as a 20 handicap, you're hitting it 17% of the time. A 10 handicap is only hitting this green 30% of the time. And from there, they're hitting it to 66 feet. So what we've got to do is we've got to lower the expectations, understand where we can't go, avoid that trouble by hitting to the correct quadrant, okay, and start to realize that as we reduce the expectations and realize any ball in play on this hole, we can get onto the green and two-putt and make a bogey. That's what's going to make us a better golfer. So if our dispersion as a 10 handicap is 66 feet, right, as a 20 handicap it's 100 feet, we've got to start getting, you know, for you 20 handicaps, you've got to get 100 feet away from that water. So that's going to pull you all the way over to that oak tree. And the point being here is if you mishit it and you pull it 80 feet, which should be a terrible golf shot, guess what? It's actually going to be really close to the hole, okay? If you hit it really well, it lands on the right edge of the green, and maybe you're putting or putting from the fringe, and all you've got to do is get down in 3. Remember, when you're down in the scoring zone, right, that's what's going to get you a bogey. It's going to take away that blow-up holes. And at worst, you blow it 100 feet to the right. Well, if you blow it 100 feet to the right, you're up by those golf carts and you're chipping onto the green, but you're not dropping the ball as a penalty. And so this is a key thing here, is that you've got to start to understand the dispersion. And as you start to play this, you take the pressure off. As you take out the big misses played because of expectations being too high and playing too aggressive shots, you start to get rid of the blow-up holes, and those par 3 scoring averages will start to come down. So now I understand the quadrant that I want to go for. I've taken away the trouble. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to pick the tee up and I'm going to move myself to where the trouble is. So I'm hitting away from the trouble. I've lasered the hole, it's 170, but I'm going to play my 180 club to make sure that even if I miss it, I'm out there at a good pin high. And then from there, all I'm going to go ahead and do is put a confident swing on it, knowing I've got a good place to hit the ball towards. And there I am, coming right down, back right-hand corner of the green. Great place to two-putt from. But remember, it's all about taking away the big blow-up holes and ensuring that you get lower scores. Simplifying the game, that's what the scoring method is all about. That's what we need to be doing. So time and time again, as you see, players come up here and genuinely think they should hit the green every single time. And they feel like they should hit inside of 30 feet, whether they're a 7 handicap, a 20, or 25. And then they get frustrated when they miss hit one just short of the green. Expectations are way too high when we're getting to par 3s. We've got to remember that PGA Tour players play them over par. And a PGA Tour player from this distance is hitting a 9-iron. And so the more we can align our expectations, the better we're going to play, the less pressure we're going to have on us, and that's going to lead to lower scores. Okay, so get honest with yourself. When we talked about those stats and you saw those other gentlemen come up on this tee box and give those numbers, how close to the numbers that they gave were you? Be honest. I mean, let's just say it as it is, right? You've never been taught stats. You've never been taught data. You don't know the numbers. So you go out there with high expectations, and that's what leads to frustration. That's what leads to the bad rounds, because you take shots that are way too aggressive. You bring the trouble into play. The ball is not in the scoring zone. And then from there, the blow-up hole absolutely happens, guaranteed. And then what does it do? It goes to the next hole and the next hole. And the frustration here is that one bad mistake in golf can lead to a 3 or 4 hole disaster. So my challenge for you today is this: 3 quick steps. Number 1 is don't just pull out the yardage finder, figure out where you can absolutely not go. Take the quadrant that you cannot go in and avoid it at all costs. Laser to the quadrant you can go to. So then you've taken the tension off. Second thing there is starting to understand that you don't have to hit it as close as you think. What you've got to take is that 100-shot dispersion, lay it over the green, and figure out how far right or left do I need to make sure I aim so that even my worst miss doesn't get into the trouble. Once you've done that, now what you can do is free yourself up to make a confident swing, knowing that if you're in the scoring zone, you've got a chance to get down in 3, make a bogey. And that, remember, if you only make bogeys, all you've got to do is have 4 or 5 pars and you're breaking 85, you have a birdie or 2, next thing you know, you're breaking 80. The reason why you're not shooting lower scores is because you haven't been taught how to score. It's not because you don't have the talent, it's that you've never worked on the technique of scoring. And if that's something that you want to do, I want you to check out the scoring method, come and see what we do, see the guaranteed results we've been getting for over 10 years now for thousands of golfers all over the world. It's so much fun, it's so simple, and it's something you can implement today with our simple scorecard.